The Art of Adaptation. Theatrical adaptation is changing a story from one medium to another. During the time of the ancient Greeks, theater was made in the 6th century BC, and adaptation was used lightly but not to good use. Greeks would adapt stories of different religions, languages, and cultures to share the show in a way the people of Greece would understand. Theater was a big part of the Greeks, as they believed in a god of theater, Dionysus. The increase of literacy didn't seem to change the amount of shows being adapted, but more so changed the style of the stories that were made and adapted. Indian theater started in the 15th century BC. Adaptation was not popular and very unknown, though Indian street theater adapted some shows from different languages, including Meghdut Ki Pravancha Yatra in the language of Bhojpuri, being adapted from Kalidasi's Meghdut Tam. This show has won many awards and is a favorite show of many. Chinese theater started in the 12th century AD. Some adaptations include The Romance of Western Chamber Xiu Gong Dao by Dong Yun, was later adapted by Wang Shifu and seems to be one of the only big adaptations. But in the 20th and 21st century, theater started adapting traditional Chinese theater to the modern stage. Japan started theater in the 15th century and had different categories like No and Kyogen being spiritual and comedy, respectively. Kabuki being an addition of drama and music, many shows were adapted into one of these categories into another. 2D musicals are musicals that are adapted from Japanese anime. These shows are very popular, especially among youth worldwide. These consist of Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, Naruto, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Phantom Blood, and Attack on Titan. English theater has the most extensive history, with multiple periods spanning over 1,000 years. English theater started in the medieval ages, lasting from 500 to 1500 AD, then the Renaissance, lasting for 160 years. After that included a Welsh literature who anonymously adapted Geoffrey Chaucer's Troilus and Cressida to a theatrical show called Troilus a Christ. This adaptation dates back to 1600. Then came the Restoration period from 1660 to 1710. Romanticism from 1798 to 1836, which included more adaptations as they became more popular. These include The Lady of the Lake in 1817, The Heart of Midlothian in 1818. Other mentioned adaptations were Guy Mannering in 1816 and The Bride of Lammermoor in 1823. After this era, there was the Victorian era in 1837 to 1901, and then the modern era from 1901 to present day. In the 1950s to 60s, there were many radio dramas that were popular, and some of them were adaptations from books and especially theatrical shows, like The Ants in 1962 and Like Men Betrayed in 1955, which are the most notable adaptations. American theater started mid-18th century en route from English theater. Originally before English colonies, there were many Native American theaters. The first theater was built in 1716, but really started 30 years later. In 1754, plays like Hamlet were being brought from Britain to America. Around the 1800s, many Shakespeare pieces were being adapted, a famous one being Uncle Tom's Cabin, adapted by George Aiken. During the 1800s to 1900s, books were gaining popularity among the public as literacy became more common. During this time, many stories like Cats and Les Miserables were adapted to the stage as their stories became more loved. There were two 1901 adaptations of Quo Vadis as film was also popular alongside theater, and the novel The Great Divide in 1906 was later adapted into three film versions. Adaptation as a whole. Conclusion. There are about three types of adaptation: transposition, faithful to the original, commentary, adding new interpretations, and analogy, significantly altering the source material. Most modern adaptations are for the use of artistic depiction and not really anymore to show the story to people who wouldn't be able to understand the original. When shows are adapted into a different type of media, details of the story are typically changed or removed. Conclusion. In conclusion, adaptation has changed far over time in many ways. It in of itself is a form of art that creates something new from an already existing piece of art. In theater, it has helped many to learn when they couldn't read, and it inspires others to make their own art or have an interest in theater. Adaptation spreads the knowledge of theater, and that is the art of it.